on Monday this week, the BET Awards celebrated 25 years, and it just so happened to also be 25 years of BET's 106 in Park. Now, if you grew up in the 2000s, you had to have known about 106 in Park. I mean, maybe if you grew up in an area where hip hop was just not available and like not popular, but I don't know where you lived because I mean, that was the sound of the 2000s. And BET's 106 in Park was basically, I guess you could describe it how most people would describe it. It was like BET's TRL. So TRL on MTV, Total Request Live, debuts in 1998. Carson Daly's the host. It becomes a phenomenon. It launches the careers of Eminem and Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and Kid Rock and Limp Bizkit and Korn and Jessica Simpson and everybody in between, right? It's a phenomenon. And so it's easy to remember back and go, oh, yeah, well, 106 in Park was B's TRL, right? There was TRL, and then there was B's TRL. But a funny thing happened. In the summer of 2002, I stumbled onto BET and 106 in Park. I would imagine this is what happened when people of a certain age heard Black Sabbath for the first time or heard the Ramones for the first time or heard the Sugar Hill Gang for the first time, heard Run DMC for the first time. It was 2002. I can still tell you the songs on that countdown. It was Mario, Just a Friend, with Biz Markie in the video, with Mario in the Ray Lewis Baltimore Ravens jersey. It was Basketball with Bow Wow off the Like Mike soundtrack. It was the Welcome to Atlanta remix with Jermaine and Ludacris holding it down for Atlanta. And then they did one of the coolest things that blew my mind as a kid. They went around to different cities. So then you had the St. Lunatics representing St. Louis. You had Diddy representing New York. You had Snoop Dogg representing Long Beach. And I'm from New Jersey. I'm from New York. And I remember when it got to the New York verse, it was welcome to New York, mother effers, where we don't play. And out-of-towners get got every day. And a gangster's a gangster in every way. And I remember at the end of that verse, Puff goes, and we're building 4 more new towers. Because this is 2002. This is less than a year after 9/11. And that just blew my mind as a kid because it was like patriotism for where you're from. And rock wasn't doing that. No rock songs I knew. I couldn't puff my chest out and be like, yeah, I'm from New York when I was listening to a rock or a pop song at the time. And that really spoke to me. And I would say that entire summer, all I did was watch BET because it started there at 106 in Park. And then I found out if I tune in a little earlier, I can watch Tigger and The Basement, Rap City, The Basement. And that was really cool. I remember thinking that was an actual basement, clearly a TV studio. I just remember from then on, I watched a lot less of TRL personally. But I always figured I was in the minority, that most people still probably watched Carson Daly and Total Request Live and MTV and all the other hosts they had after Carson Daly. And then when I got the TRL job, if you're watching this video, you don't know, I hosted the TRL reboot from 2018 through 2020 when they changed the name of it to Fresh Out, which I still host that show. It's called Fresh Out Live and it tapes in the TRL studios in Times Square. And it's funny because I'll post clips and people will comment on social media because they just don't know. It's such a fragmented world now. They'll go, how are you in the TRL studios in 2025? And I'll always go, you are in for a big surprise. So yeah, we still do that show. When I got cast as the new host of TRL in 2018, I did a deep dive on the original TRL show because I wanted to know, just like anything. I mean, I'm doing the streaming thing now. I want to know everything about streaming. That's how I approach endeavors in my life. I learned that TRL, after its first season in 1998 and 1999, lost ratings every year by 10 to 15 to 20% for the first 3 years. So they peaked in season 1 and then they start going down in ratings, right? And then Carson Daly leaves the show in 2002 and they get all these new hosts and stuff, right? 106 in Park was bigger than TRL. 106 in Park literally got better ratings than TRL, not at the end of TRL's run. During the peak of TRL, 106 in Park had better ratings and bigger numbers than TRL on MTV. Park was not BET's TRL. TRL was MTV's 106 in Park. 106 in Park had a longer run than TRL. 106 in Park was also a much more diverse show than TRL, because it wasn't just the countdown on 106 in Park. There were the performances, right? The classic performances with Genuine pretending he's dead and he comes back to life, and the famous him on a stretcher performance, right? They also had Freestyle Fridays. They had a blind guy winning rap battles. Blind Fury, go look it up. Do you remember the Asian rapper Jin? He was on Freestyle Fridays, and it was electric. You would watch this on BET on Fridays, and you would have two rappers just insulting each other. When you're 12 years old, there is nothing more fun than watching the music you love. Instead of lyrics, there's just two people insulting each other, and there's competition and sport to it. So there was that aspect of it. And then there would be like kind of chilled out, cool interviews, AJ and Free. That's the generation I watched. And they'd be interviewing people. And the music was just amazing. I remember I would watch TRL in that era, and I would look at my buddies and go, this is the number one video? Who's listening to this? Who is listening to Lindsay Lohan? Do you know anybody in our grade listening to Lindsay Lohan, and this is number one on TRL? How'd that happen? This Hillary Duff song is number one? Who's voting for this, bro? And then you'd flip it over to where I grew up. Channel 53 was MTV and Channel 54 was BET. And you'd flip it over to BET and there'd be a new Fabulous video. There'd be a Lil Flip video, a new Loon video. There'd be a Mario Winans video. There'd be an Usher video. And some of those people would be on TRL, but not all of them. But if you don't believe me, if you don't believe that 106 in Park was bigger than TRL, explain this. Because I got receipts. I got receipts. Check this out. This is crazy. August 2002. If you were to ask most people, like, yo, what is the peak of TRL? It's like the early 2000s, bro. This isn't like 106 in Park beat TRL in the ratings like when TRL was about to get canceled. No. We're coming correct on this story. BET's 106 in Park hip-hopped, that's corny, past TRL by tapping into the teen R&B market. The 2-year-old video countdown show finds itself routinely trouncing the MTV rival. The irony is, weren't they always owned by the same company? Anyways, scores of preteens shriek and swoon as pop heartthrob Mario heads into a Midtown TV studio. The singer is there for a brief chat with the show's host, who then breathlessly reels off the top 10 most requested videos of the day. All the while, a giddy, manic audience offers unconditional squeals of approval. Now, if you're looking for Carson Daly, prepare for a letdown. This isn't TRL. It's BET's 106 in Park, and co-hosts AJ and Free trump Carson's Nielsen numbers daily. Man, whoever wrote this really had it out for Carson, huh? Park, airing weeknights at 6. Now, I will say this. I think that's an advantage, because once you start developing a life as a kid, who is home at 3:30 for TRL, bro? Who's home at 3:30 watching TRL? I'm not. I'm causing mischief, bro. I'm stealing stuff from convenience stores. I'm playing tag till late. I'm not home. I'm out playing tag, so I can't watch TRL. But I can watch 106 in Park after tag. I'll tell you that right now. Anyways, it's grown quietly since its September 2000 debut, and now not only tops its MTV counterpart, but it also has helped launch the careers of hip-hop and R&B new jacks like Bow Wow and B2K. Bow Wow was huge, went on to host 106 in Park. Currently a stalwart presence in the urban music industry. Park is appointment TV for labels looking to break new acts. Kevin Lyles, who was the president of Def Jam at the time, Ashanti would be on 106 in Park, Ludacris, 106 in Park. It's in our mission statement. There are 5 things you need to do to be successful. You need to sign a superstar with a great image. You need to have a great first single. You need to get great word of mouth, get them on the radio, and get them on 106 in Park. Those things start projects. At the same time, Park has single-handedly reinvigorated the adolescent pop R&B genre, made famous by artists like the Jackson 5 and New Edition. One of the things that fueled 106 in Park was the absolute dearth of urban artists that 14 to 16-year-old girls could lose their minds over. Stephen Hill saying this. It was just one of those obvious holes. You've got credible hip-hop. You've got adult hip-hop. You don't have that New Edition. 106 Park was intended to be the perfect vehicle. So there you go. That's 2002, bro. And in 2 years, it was beating TRL in the numbers. Nostalgia is one thing. People reimagine history. They re-envision history. But I will have you know that you just read it there and you heard it here on the live stream. 106 in Park at TRL's peak beat TRL in the ratings. Pretty incredible. And it deserved the tribute that it got at the BET Awards this year. And it is just an amazing show, and really a show that changed my life, and a show that I just loved. Really, I loved that show. I loved 106 in Park. If you're around my age, if you're a millennial, you probably did too. So Kudos to 106 in Park. And a lot of people think that was BET's TRL. And I'm willing to contest the TRL was MTV's 106 in Park. And 106 in Park also ran until 2014. You believe that? 2014. That's pretty incredible.